Hello, everyone. This is Osaka Starling, fresh from Osaka, early this morning at 9 a.m. And I am here to play some games. So, last week, of course, we played Spirit Tea, and wasn't sure quite what to play next. I am thinking of getting Spirit Tea next week when it comes out and seeing if I should play more or not. I'm feeling a bit on the fence about that, but then I thought maybe I should play some Nancy Drew this week. But it turns out Nancy Drew is really hard to get working on OBS and would require some finagling that I am not willing to do right now. So I decided to boot up Mask of the Rose. Now, if you don't know about this game, it is based in the same world as Fallen London, which was interactive. It was an interactive story, browser based, that was very big, at least in my view, when I think I was in college. Maybe, yeah, I think I was in college when it got really big, and I was really into it. And I used their way of making stories, which involved pulling cards and whatnot, to make my own stories because they had that kind of customization on the website. It's very interesting as well. It had non-binary options for your main character far before anyone else had any, and it also was very Lovecraftian without being Lovecraft. It's very much its own thing. The idea is that something happened and London fell below ground and everything is a little bit weird there. And when you played Fallen London, the interactive story, you were in that world far after it had happened. You were just existing in this weird alternate reality version of London. Now, this game happens right after the fall. So it kind of gives a lot more background to what was happening, what was going on, like the weirdness of what London was becoming and how everyone was reacting to it. And I've played a bit of it, but I thought I would start from the start so that people can kind of see what it's about. This is a visual novel type game. There is romance, but you don't have to romance anyone. That's not the point of the game. It's just kind of an added thing you can do in the game. And it is quite exciting. We'll see how far we'll get today. There's a lot of interesting gameplay things. This was a Kickstarter as well. I did help kickstart it out of nostalgia for the original Fallen London. The art style I really like. The characters are very much Fallen London-esque. There's this kind of whimsy to everyone. And as you can see, it's kind of more of a Victorian type of London. Hi, Red. Hi, Red. Cat alert. Oh, cat alert gone. You can see his tail. Boop, boop, boop. As for me, as you can see, I've got the kotatsu out because it's getting cold. It's getting cold, and I'm cold, and the cats love kotatsu, and I discovered them cuddling each other this morning because they were quite cold. So I thought I'd turn the kotatsu on. Also, I got a new camera because my other cat, beautiful Aki, decided that she wanted to bite the cord of the other camera, which I'd had for 8 years anyway, so I guess she was telling me I needed a better camera. See my beautiful face. But anyways, I am going to get started. If anyone pops into the chat or pops into the stream, let me know if the audio is odd or not. If not, I hope anyone who watches this on VOD has a wonderful time, and I guess it's time to get started. Oh my goodness, I'm so nervous. There's no voice acting, so I will have to voice act everything. I'm not a voice actor, but I am a kindergarten teacher, so I'm used to reading storybooks. Okay, I'm done. I'm done looking at myself on the other screen. I'm ready to play. So let's make game big. All right, and let's get started. Mask of the Rose. Play. We're gonna start a new game. Here we go. Your first foray into Mask of the Rose is unlikely to end as happily as you might hope. Never mind. Savor your successes, delight in your disasters. Try again, wiser in the ways of the Neath. The city is thick with secrets, but they can't hide from you. This gameplay also likely to end in disaster because I didn't get far enough in the other game to learn from my mistakes. So let's go. I'm just excited. In February 1862, with no warning at all, London fell through the surface of the earth. This was meant to be a year of progress and industry. The Great Exposition, trams, a new sewer system. Instead, we find ourselves dwelling in a cave. It's October now. The fires have been put out, the bodies buried. But the future remains unimaginable. The time before, impossibly distant. Who were you? All right, this is where we figure out who we are. We got options. We have a dock worker's child. My father worked the docks, unloading ships. My uncle was a sailor. We were on the right side of the law, but the same couldn't always be said for our friends. So the docks are allied with the working class and with criminals. In this game, your role and the clothes you wear very heavily influence the type of interactions you can have. So we've got a dock worker's child, a child of the gentry. My family had an estate on the surface. My father was a magistrate. All that is unreachable now, of course. I had the bad fortune to be in London during the fall, and now there is no going back, but I do have a few connections here. So this gives me I'm good with the high society and the constabulary. Constabulary? A tailor. My family kept a tailoring shop with aspirations. We dressed our customers better than we dressed ourselves. So this is good with shopkeepers and with society, artistically inclined. A housebreaker child. This is locked. I can't do this yet. I have to complete the game to do this, but I haven't completed the game. My father was a housebreaker. His father was a highwayman. We came down in the world no longer doing our crimes on horseback. And then my father was arrested. This is also locked. I would love to be an undertaker. My family were undertakers. We knew everything there was to know about procuring hearses, hiring mourners, and dressing a body. Arcane, blah, blah, blah. There's so many. Okay, so I've got dock worker's child, gentry, or tailor. My other game, I'm a tailor. Maybe I'll be a little rough and tumble dock worker's child. That's me. You can't read it because my camera's there. Down here, your name is whatever you say it is. Often, there's no one left to remember who you used to be. Some people hold tight to the names they carried before. Some reinvent themselves completely. All right. So this is right here is a very Fallen London-esque screen. How should people address you? I prefer strangers to address me as we've got madam, sir, my lord, my lady, citizen, comrade, captain, lieutenant, doctor, professor, officer, secretary, brother, sister, reverend, intendant, monsieur, madame, mademoiselle, miss, madam. So you can really make this so you feel comfortable in how you're being addressed as your character. I think I'm going to go for a miss. Though my friends call me, let's do some... We know we're going Starling. I'm Starling. That suits me. I miss Starling. That's me. Starling to my friends. Miss to strangers. Let's see. That's how I was addressed even before London fell. I'm a different person down here than I was above. Down here, I'm finally able to use the name that always fits me. I love this. That's how I was addressed even before London fell. Oof! Cameo. Fallen London also heavily used things like cameos. Who is me? Which one of these people are me? Oh, excuse me, what is this? Oh, excuse me, I love this. I don't know if this is me, but I love it. You know what? Sure. Oh, look, it's actual me. I was a dock worker, but then I cut my hair off, and now I am a fancy one. Fancy miss. I'm fancy. Alright. In the Neath, a true ally means everything. When I find people to be close to, I am open to. This, as someone who's ace, I love this as well. So, you can play this game to just have friendship, but no romantic emotions or physical intimacy. You can play this game to just have friendship and physical intimacy, but no romantic emotions. Friendship and romantic emotions, but no physical intimacy, and whatever comes my way. So, you could be Ace, you could be Arrow, you could be Ace Arrow, or you could be Aloe. You choose. It's your game. Alright, so I think I'm gonna go for friendship and romantic emotions. I'll be looking for someone to reciprocate my romantic devotion for a short while or for a lifetime. Friendship and matchmaking are possible too, but I'm not looking for physical intimacy. So, going over, here I am, Miss Starling. I'm a dock worker's child. My heart's desire is a chaste romance. Yes, Aki, indeed. Aki, you coming down? You coming down? Hi, girl. Hi, girl. Aki, come say hello to everyone. Come say hello to the internet. Meow, meow. Oh, she purring. Hi, Aki. I got 2 cats. One's on my lap. Oh, bye, Aki. Aki, bye. Oh, they both left me at the same time. How dare you, Red? How dare you? How dare you? All right, let's be happy with this. I'm happy with this. Right now, I'm meant to be helping with the census, finding out who still lives in my neighborhood. The first census results are due tomorrow. If I turn them in, I get paid. The first money to come my way in nearly 2 months. If I don't, I'm going to disappoint Grizz badly. She knew I was in trouble, so she went out of her way to find me work with her own employers. She even gave me a badge to show my affiliation. So I got an item. It's my first item. Badge of the Ministry of Accounting and Recounting. The front of the badge looks almost like a constable's badge, with the lion and unicorn blazoned on it. The back of the badge has some kind of symbol I don't recognize. Hot to touch. I keep it with the clothes I have from before the fall, and a few odd items I found more recently. So here's outfit. Obviously, I only have a bit. I got no hat. Going bareheaded is a bit chilly in this cave. I got a face. Barefaced. Good for the complexion. I've got lapel. I've got 2 things from the lapel. I've got the badge of the Ministry of Accounting and Recounting. Having this on makes me very official. I also have the fake but vibrant corsage. The most obvious thing about this flower is that it is extremely fake. Perfect for going out in town, boasting and gallivanting. This makes me more... I say pretty ridiculous things when I wear this. So these will give you different options while you are playing. We'll keep this on right now because we're supposed to be doing a census. We also have the torso. We are starting with the sailor's top because that's our background. And And it'll give us some interesting things to say as well. You'll notice in the corner we've got a journal. There's not much here yet. Nothing here yet. But we've got 259 days since the fall. So 259 days ago, London fell. And the seasons all have names, and the seasons are kind of like, it's very almost Jane Austen-esque. It's very good. We got money, we got census pages, we got time of day. There, I think, are 2 types of day. And then we have acquaintances, which is a little bit, we've got me, and we've got my history. Day 124 pre-fall, moved into Chapman's. Day 92, fall summer, swore never to consume another bite of mushrooms. What did I do? Day 94, fall summer, broke antifungal fast because too hungry. Because this is after the fall. There's probably nothing but mushrooms in this cave. Day 220, confessions. Asked Grizz to help me find work. Which would have been 9 days ago. My views on life and the Neath are still forming. We've got Archie, who is one of the people, a fellow lodger. We survived the fall together. That's a sort of bond. So we only just met Archie before the fall. And we got Grizz, who gave us the job. Her name is Griselda Smith. She's a clerk at the ministry. The very mysterious ministry. So, 15 days before the fall, both Archie and Grizz moved in like right before the fall. I've been there 124 days. She wore gowns back then. We got Hardit. They met him during the cup. He's currently a constable, but you'll understand soon. And then we got Horatia, our landlord, our landlady. We still owe her back rent. She is a good bean. We got the log, so whenever this is where we can go back and see what we talked about with who. Let's go back. All right, go back. That'll do. Welcome to your attic. From here you may explore the city, recall the past, change your outfit, and more as the story unfolds. The game will save each time you return here, indicated by this notification. Saving. Got it. So we got change outfit and head outside. Obviously, there's no point in changing our outfit. We just did, so we'll head outside. And we only have one choice, which is boarding house, which is less of heading outside and more heading downstairs. Boarding house. Chapman's boarding house. Home. Host a visitor before bed. Ooh. Grizz. I thought you were up here. She glances at the badge I'm wearing. I suppose I should be glad you're thinking about the census, even if you didn't get around to leaving the house. I react to that the way I react to many things these days. I dare to name the frightening things out there. I'm not sure what I'll meet out there. Not everything outside is human. Rumors. Don't let a few odd things in the broadsheets frighten you. Come, tomorrow evening, we need to have at least a few census forms filled out. Or I'm going to be the one explaining to Mr. Pages. And if that happens, I'm not going to help you with your employment prospects again. Grizz works for the Ministry of Accounting and Recounting. It seems to agree with her. She wears trousers to work, comes home at all hours. It's very important to her, being taken seriously by these employers. The next thing I do is characteristic 2. Offer encouragement, confront her with her own mistakes. Be open and build trust, rely on dark humor. Be open and... I don't find it easy to go out in all of this. The darkness is oppressive. Archie feels the same way. When you think about it, Archie would have done better to go to Italy or south of France and get his training there. I imagine the medical training is just as good, and the sun would have improved his disposition. You do still have some time tomorrow. What do you think of the questions? They're written in the most peculiar spiked handwriting, and there are punctures in the paper, in random spots. Let's see, demonstrate that I've already read them, tease her as though I think that's her handwriting, ask her what put holes in the paper. We never want to know what puts holes in the paper. Let's demonstrate. The question about romance is peculiar. Perhaps. But it matters greatly to my employers. Whatever you do, you must not leave that out. At this moment, a second visitor walks in. Archie's family is in Scotland. Everyone says that only London fell below, but Archie is afraid that something happened to them, too. I could attempt a Scottish accent. I don't think it will go well. Shall we try anyway? I wondered where you were. Point out he could knock before entering my room, agreed Archie flirtatiously. Guess at why Archie is here. Let's go the middle road. Archie, is something wrong downstairs? Has there been a new disaster? Not the kind you're thinking of. Out I went this morning to visit a patient, and what do I find pasted up on the wall? He holds up a broadsheet. There's a new decree from the Ministry of Cartography and Chirography that all maps and atlases are to be surrendered or put on the fire. This might be Irish. I apologize to all Scottish and Irish people. It's your folk making these rules, Grizz. Promise Grizz that we can be trusted whatever she knows. Suggest Archie leave the topic alone, stay well out of this. Promise Grizz. You can tell us. We're trustworthy. I'm even working for the ministry. You have yet to actually do anything for the ministry. I have the badge, and I've been trained. Will you be asking your Mr. Pages about these maps? The Ministry of Chirography and Cartography is new. I don't think that existed yesterday. No, that's a little bit unnerving. It does give the sense that everything is a bit precarious. If you did not have that sense already, what's with the stalactite that fell on Southwark yesterday night? Yeah, I feel like that's definitely Irish. It's okay. It's okay. You all forgive me, right? These are all very reasonable points. Very well. I'll see what I can find out about this. But it might take some time. Starling, please do collect at least a few census forms by tomorrow, from whatever Londoners you are able to find. I've gone Irish with everyone. Everyone's Irish now. At the end of the day, I'll find you, and we can take them to Mr. Page's together. New goal. Deliver a filled census form to Pages. Do you know what I miss the most? Back home, my sister's hair turned colour when it rained, blonde to a wet plastered brown. Like a mad hen she looked. Turn the subject to the census. Check on how he's feeling. Say farewell. Let's turn the subject to the census. I want my money. Grizz has me gathering census pages for the ministry. Aye, Grizz told me it was some such thing. Simply ask about his romantic commitments. Show some doubt. Try to establish some trust. Let's establish some trust. I have heard all sorts of stories, so I doubt you will shock me. Do you have your heart set on anyone? Archie speaks quite openly. Down here, there's no one. What about before the fall? There was a lass back home, and what did me mother do but promise me to her? Encourage him to go on. That sounds like a tale. What happened? It's not so uncommon, I think. Me mother was friends with this lass's parents. They were getting on in years, and her not married, and of course, the whole village knew her business. So me mother said she'd fix it up between us next time I were home, but I've not been back since. Seemed to me I ought to wait till I was finished with my studies. Might have a better look to it. The question has stirred recollections. He's not considered for a time. Is it bad to say I've not much thought of her since? She has very even teeth. My mother said overlapping teeth in a woman means defiance, and gap means a light skirt. I offer possibly unwelcome views on his mother. Keep my opinions to myself. I think his mother's quite rude. I shall offer some opinions. By what I can tell, your mother is an interfering old crone. That might have been a bit much. I might have made a mistake. No response. I could flirt with Archie after I said bad things about his mother. Ask Archie about his work. Make the mood even more disagreeable. Simply ask Archie what he does for money. Is your income all from seeing patients these days? I did sell off a couple of my old atlases just today. Sensor maps sell for a good price if you know the right buyer. Ferret's vermin eradication takes in more than just rats. Till I see you at supper then. Any wagers on what Horatia's cooking tonight? Better not ask. Aha! Look we go. This is interesting because it asks our intentions. We can decide to romance Archie. Decide we only have platonic intentions towards Archie. Decide we hate him. Decides we don't know yet. I think we have platonic intentions towards Archie. I want to be his friend. Even though I said bad thing about his mother. My face betrays my feelings. One sentence page. I'm going to review the day in my journal. What did we do today? Alright, we got these goals right now. I got one census page. I got to do more census interviews. Alright. Oh. Day 60. 13 days remain in the season of confession. Oh, God. One moment. I've got my nose just blocked up. All right. Continue. The newspapers aren't what they used to be, but someone is still printing broadsheets these days. The morning's lies open on the table. Beware ailments caused by lack of sunlight. Cholera, scurvy, female distemper. I like how this game, it has, like, it tries to be accurate to the feelings of, like, the feelings and opinions about, like, women of the day, but it frames them as ridiculous. Like, they say these things, but us as a character, we're like, that is stupid. And the game also kind of, like, pokes fun at it. And alluding that it's ridiculous. Oh, we can recall the past. We should do this. Alright. Oof. I'm always reliving London's last night on the surface. I try to put it out of my head, but it's still there. The dimming of the sun at 3 in the afternoon. The sky turning the color of rust. The horrible bang and a cloud of dust from the direction of Westminster. The tolling of the bells. The horseman who rode down the street, livered in the garb of the palace, shouting, "In Her Majesty's name, go indoors!" And then the sky was full of bats. More bats than I thought could exist in the world. Wheeling, shrieking, defecating. People went indoors then. If they ignored the criers, those that had no house crowded into the churches and under the bridges. Even now, I don't understand. That so many bats could exist in the world. It was not only in our part of London, they were everywhere. Perhaps I should say, they are everywhere. I reckon it's a tornado. I've heard... Oh, wait, this is Archie. I thought it was me. It's Archie. I reckon it's a tornado. I've heard of something similar in the Welsh Hills back in the 1760s. Nae light in the sky and a noise like a thunderclap. That's no a tornado, love. It's a plague of Egypt. I let them talk. I've seen tornadoes. They come and they move right on again, and they aren't made of bats. They say the tornadoes scattered livestock every which way. Sheep on rooftops and that. Then the ground shook again. I believe we can blame Mr. Bazalgette's excavations, digging about under London, causing a seismic disturbance. And what did he find down there but a cave of 3 million bats? Is that what you reckon? There are stranger things beneath London. That was the beginning of it, but we were down there for hours and hours. The sky darkened, and it didn't return to normal. Once, around midnight, Grizz went upstairs and opened the door to the street, but she came right back down again. She said the cobbles were galloping about. It wasn't safe to walk outside. After that first bit, the memories collide and get confused. I have trouble keeping track of which came first and which came later, and whether I'm imagining something. I spent a lot of days like this, thinking back, trying to piece together the pieces of the puzzle. As if I could realize something that would make sense of it all. All right. That is the vibe of this game. Adjust your current outfit. Keep what I'm wearing. I got nothing else. We're gonna go censusing. Okay, let's head outside. It's morning. We got one census page. We should get Mr. Pages some more. We can go to the boarding house. At the boarding house, we could do Horatio or Grizz. Or we could go to Thrall Street and go meet Harjit. Harjit forever. Let's go. So this is the street we live on. And let's go see Constable Harjit. It's worth it to be mindful of how others will perceive me, what role I play, what I can and cannot say. It's constrained by my clothes. It is constrained by my clothes, yep. This is true before the fall, but it's even truer now. Names, identities, and relationships have all been so unsteady and unreliable. Harjit admits duty, but does not always care for the ministry. It's hard to say what impressions the badge makes on him. I'm satisfied with this. I'm here on a mission, Harjit, okay? I'm working for the ministry right now. The street outside Mrs. Chapman's are not easy. Thanks to my family history, I know where to find the immigrant neighborhoods of London. Ooh, that's interesting. To Tenterground Synagogue, an old synagogue, and one that has weathered the fall very well. This game has a big, there's a Jewish bunch of characters in this game. It's good. I grew up in a Jewish community, so where I grew up, Jewish holidays were free days at school, basically, because more than half the kids would be absent. Um, so it's really like nostalgic. But whenever I need to find more of them, it's Harjit who helps me. I have something for you if you want it. He produces a nearly new Admiral's hat in perfectly good condition. I found it near the docks. No sign of the owner, and I can't wear it myself. I thought someone at Mrs. Chapman's might get use out of it. Perhaps Lady Griselda. Yahoo! Admiral's hat! Trimmed with gold braid, it makes a person look like a respectable representative of the Navy. Wearing it gives me a commanding, if slightly curmudgeonly presence. This hat gives me some really funny things to say. Clothes make an impression on other people when I wear them. They make an impression on me, too. Sometimes I'm inspired to say things I wouldn't otherwise. I have the feeling this particular hat would make me a bit gruff and commanding. Put it on my head and consider what to say. See, okay. I love this tutorial because it's so natural. So we can thank him. We can use it to mutter ungraciously, influenced by the hat. We can take the hat off again. We can try on the lapel flower rather than the badge to see what it looks like. I'm just gonna thank him, you know? I'm gonna wear my hat. Oh, a very good of you. He could have gotten a penny or two for it by selling it on a second-hand clothes merchant. Harjit does not have an answer. Explain that I'm working for the Ministry of the Census. Establish my authority with the census. The Ministry of Accounting and Recounting have asked me to work on the census. I see. London was determined to collect everyone's name even before the fall. Agree that it's a peculiarity of the English. It is a peculiarity of the English. You aren't the only ones ever to count your citizens. What do you wish to know? Simply ask about Harjit's household. Ask, making it clear this is with the census. Use the question as a chance to flirt. I think we're just going to simply ask. I'm a straightforward person. Do you live alone? At one time, I shared my lodgings. That was prior to the fall. But my former companion is missing. Simply ask about Harjit's romantic connections. Are you married or otherwise connected? This is not a matter I would explain to most people. You and I have known another for some time, however. I think you would hear me out kindly, but if you would rather not carry my secrets, assure Harjit I would keep his confidence, whatever it is. I believe I know what is expected in these situations. Even before the fall, I would not have married. My companion was not a lady. He was an officer who came to the Punjab. We became acquainted, and then more than acquainted. I thought he and I would remain together throughout our lives. I followed him here, away from my own country and everything I knew, to the home of my former enemies. He promised me that it was worth the sacrifice. He said we would never be separated. You will observe that he isn't here. Oh, no, I would never laugh at Harjit's misfortune. I do not presume to comment. I say nothing. I have been looking for him since the night of the fall. I walked on streets that were tearing themselves stone from stone looking for him. Suggest that the man may still be found. Perhaps you'll still find him. It becomes more unlikely. No one speaks for a moment. There are so many things in my life that I share with no one. Things that are not secret or even private, but that are beyond companionship. The memory of my home, my faith, the intricate politics of the court in Lahore which I learned in childhood and cannot forget. Now I'm adding to those all the empty buildings that I alone see. Do you have any such things of your own, in which communication entirely fails? Talk about my peculiar upbringing. I tell him about growing up at the water's edge, and about all the things and people who passed by. I tell him about the warehouse fires and the spills at the tobacco docks. I speak of the years of the great stink and the misery of being so close to the Thames. All London experienced these things, but not the way my family did. I could mention them to anyone, and anyone would know what I was speaking of, but none of them would have endured them in the same way we did. England is not always kind, even to its own, it seems. Ask what he thinks of London. If you've seen other cities, what do you think of ours? It has been taken by surprise, which serves it right. No, you deserve a better answer. I do not like the city London was, and I do not like the city London will become. In time, she'll remember her confidence and try to rule again, unless Lady Griselda and her type fails. But the cracked and lost parts of London now, this is a place to love. People have no choice but to meet as equals, now and then. Thank Harjit for trusting me. I'm glad you told me that. You're welcome. I should go, but you know where to find me. I am always here. I like Harjit. He's a good bean. There's time to run one more errand today before supper. Let's see, I could go to the synagogue. Let's take my hat off. The hat's making... I feel like an asshole with my hat on. Alright, because now we have the synagogue. It's a Tenterground synagogue. I can make money, but let's go Tenterground synagogue. An old synagogue, and one that has weathered the fall very well. Let's go! Look for potential census fillers. Who will we find at the synagogue? I am satisfied with this. They peer over my badge. I'm not familiar with that ministry. It's new. We are on our way to services, so this is not a suitable time for ministry business. Wait here, Rachel, or you could stand a bit to the side if you want, wherever you're comfortable. I'll speak with this person. It won't take long. Shouldn't, anyway. Try to draw a personal connection, given that my family were dock workers. Starling. Up until not long ago, I came from a family of dock workers. David and Rachel Lando. Rachel is my sister. What can we do for you? Explain that I'm working for the Ministry on the Census. The Ministry of Accounting and Recounting have asked me to work on the census. David looks faintly mutinous. I'll answer your questions, miss, if you answer mine. Call it character research. Are you having peculiar dreams down here? Admit that I am having peculiar dreams. Yes, from time to time. Of a land of thick green jungle and an orange sun high above. Of colors you don't see in waking life. Yes, sometimes. People miss sunlight and foliage, so they dream of that. It's like being hungry and dreaming of cake. Do you see a bird with 7 heads? No. Go ahead with your questions, miss. Should we do Rachel or David? Let's see. I like Rachel is so interesting. I want to do it with Rachel. Try to establish some trust. I live in a lodging house with a few fellow lodgers, and I am always curious how others have managed. Aha. Who else lives in your household? Rachel answers me quite frankly. Our home contains myself, my brother, and our housekeeper. It isn't a grand establishment. We had another housekeeper for many years, but she passed away, and Phoebe, our servant, had lost her place with a neighbor of ours. Why I'm asking... Okay, well, I guess... maybe? Okay. Ask whether David has any romantic commitments currently. Do you have any romantic commitments now? He doesn't have any commitments. In fact, I would go so far as to say he is utterly without prospects. He stays home and reads. I haven't been well. He warns me of spinsterhood, but he's headed very much in that direction himself. It isn't the same thing at all. I agree. It isn't. I have my works to support myself. My sister is a famous authoress, serialized in the Lily of London, if you can believe it. But what's become of your funds since the fall? You'll have to marry if you don't mean to end your days a pauper, brother. I'll rely on you to support me in my failing years, sister. Okay, nope. He didn't like it when I made it senses related. Simply ask whether David is in love. Are you married? In love? Oh, not recently. I was in love once, or so I imagined. Charlotte Carringham. She and David had an understanding. She converted in any case. Becoming Christian suited her social aspirations. Rachel. Yes. I take leave to dislike your unworthy suitors as heartily as you dislike mine. Milton is a yellow-eyed, flash-dressed, hot-handed creature, at least 2 decades too old for my sister. Rumors of devils are frequent in the city. Perhaps Milton is one of them. Yep, we got devils, y'all. I hardly think he and Charlotte are comparable. Hint for more information about Rachel's unsuitable friend. Oh, dear. The rules of polite society have broken somewhat in the fall, haven't they? Nothing of the sort. He's a devil, or rather, he belongs to the group using that name. Milton is an artistic aspiration. If you are not a writer yourself, miss, you cannot guess how much the fall has disrupted our sort of work. Characters have certain tastes, certain preferences, certain prejudices. All I need to do is imagine them in new circumstances, and the reactions write themselves. But now we've all been at least a little bit cracked by the fall. How does anyone behave? Who can say? You always said you wrote from observation. You can still observe. Since the fall, there's no pattern in what I see. It is only home that makes sense to me, and I cannot make my whole novel about a brother and sister lighting candles at Sabbath. Ask why not, out of curiosity. Suggest that this is the point in which her art must truly develop. Hold my tongue. Hold my tongue. The rest of the world must come into it somehow. Milton helps me sort the rest of the world. He can make sense of anything, even a viscountess running down the streets in her peignoir. I assume this is underwear. It's easy to understand a misbehaving viscountess. Everything else is stranger. Let me say, Starling, Milton smokes rose-scented cigars. He helps me. Oh my god, I could take census. I'm gonna take a census about Rachel, though. This is what I've been trying to do this whole time. Are you in love? Are you married, in love? No, I wouldn't say that. Milton is only a friend. Just as well, too. In the times before, you would have never darkened the door of such a person. Ask David about his work. What line of work are you in? We have money in the funds, interest in several businesses in London and elsewhere. The time was when I used to be very busy in answering letters from Livorno, from Amsterdam. These days my time is not so extensively occupied. We must be going. We're already late. I'm not feeling well enough for this. You've set loose one or two ideas, from which I certainly owe you something. She produces a card and hands it to me. It provides her address and guidance to reach it. Woohoo! The Landos townhouse. We could go visit them and learn more about this Milton fellow. Goodbye, then. I don't know. I mean, Rachel's great. My options remain to be seen. I shake my head. The ruminations are gone. All is as it was. It is almost time to eat. This game is a lot of this. You get to know a lot of people. You learn about them. You get them to talk about themselves. You give this information to a mysterious figure called Mr. Pages. I'm sure it's fine. Let's take off by... I don't know if... I mean, Grizz would be happy, but I feel like the other two would get mad. Let's head outside / let's go to dinner. Go down to supper. Grizz is waiting for me. Whatever census forms you have ready, it is time to take them to Mr. Pages. Can't we have supper instead? Oh, I forgot we're going to see Mr. Pages. Let's go! Mr. Pages! I'm cold. My house is cold. My house is cold. I'm going to put on this break. The world is a cold, cold place. All right. Ooh, I'm prepared. I sincerely hope that's true. Come with me. Once I've shown you how to reach the ministry, you can come back on your own and turn in others. Grizz has gathered my papers. I got 4 papers. That's pretty good. With luck, Mr. Pages will decide to keep you on. With even more luck, you won't mind being asked about the Ministry of Chirography and Cartography. With that, she leads me outside and down a side street that's no longer named. I didn't wear my badge! I made a mistake. Oh well. We tack through the city like a sailboat, beating up wind. We never go straight at the bazaar. More often than not, it's hidden by intervening roof, alternating starboard and port. But every time I look up, it stands closer. Finally, we find ourselves standing in its shadow, under its walls. Before us is a low door that once I think belonged to a solicitor's office. Grizz takes out a key, made of something other than metal, and unlocks that door. Mind the pile of papers? I've already sorted them 3 times. Mr. Pages is very particular about the ordering of documents. Now, where has he gone? Usually he's here by this time of day. Da-da-da-da! Ah, there you are, sir. We are just coming to bring you census documents. A first installment of many, I'm sure. There was a tone in her voice somewhere between fondness and a nanny guiding an untutored child. I can't ignore this. I watch her curiously. She doesn't meet my eye. Does she have feelings towards it? affection, regard for a very strange and demanding pets, or is it something more heartfelt? Mr. Pages, may I present Starling? Starling, this is Mr. Pages. The whole Ministry of Accounting and Recounting is under Mr. Page's direction. Acknowledge the introduction. Yeah, let's do that. In good health, then, are you? Virtuous, with a suction of myrtillance. Mr. Pages has, a surprisingly high voice for someone so large. What was that? Mr. Pages has been interviewing a Frenchman unhappily stranded on our shores before the fall. You can imagine how that might affect both mind and vocabulary. Agree that I'm sorry. I'm sorry to all French people. Still thinking in French, eh? The words get stuck in the head. What have you brought us? I got so many census pages. Let's give you Archie's census page. 2 coins. Ah, most satisfactory. There are secrets here. It gives me 2 shiny pennies for my trouble. I turn one over and it has a portrait on the back of someone who is certainly not the queen. The face on the back of the coin stares at me until the hair prickles on my neck. The coin reminds me of a debt owed, and I don't want to remember. And my breath hitches and slows and resumes. I'm holding 2 pennies now. Continue. Provide Pages with 7 census forms. We did not expect much from Archie. Under Conqueries having already revelated that he is a lightless character. What else is there? Hand over a finished sentence about Rachel. Pages offers me 2 pennies from a jar, bringing my stash to 4. There are other coins in there too, and a few things that aren't even coins. Buttons, pearls, probably false, a horse head, carved from ivory or bone. The quality of your information impresses us this time. It looks through the sheets of the form in its usual way. It doesn't find much to interest it in the account of Rachel's romantic life. It is much more interested by her employment. She invents love stories from nothing. There are a number of novels printed every year in London. The price of the paper was recently reduced. These stories we will acquire. If they are suitable, then we will also acquire the authoress. Okay. Right you are then, of course. You are new to the Neath. Do you have anything more? I got David. Oh, he's only worth 1. I didn't do as well with David. I did really well with Rachel, apparently. Mr. Pages takes the census page eagerly and spends some time scanning it. There is something it is looking for. Something it keeps looking for that it cannot find. It seems he cares for his sister more than for any other. Nonetheless, his affections are prolific. There's some promise in that. Do you have anything more? So, from what I can see is Mr. Pages loves a juicy romance, and David didn't have a juicy romance, so Mr. Page, not interested. Got Harja. Harja's got a good love life. Yeah, 2 coins. Mr. Pages pays 2 pennies. Then I puts the census page in the stack of the other, much like it. It weighs the stack down like a paperweight. If I look too hard at the paperweight, my eyes sting. Can we say that the story is finished, while the lover has not returned? Another chaptering is imaginable. The business of the census is done for now. Perhaps I've earned a question. Ask why maps need to be outlawed. Why aren't we allowed to have maps and atlases anymore? We need them more than ever. London isn't arranged as it used to be. I believe the ministry intends to resurvey the territory. In the meantime, it wouldn't do, to have people using fallacious maps. Fallacious maps. The territory of the Neath is anti-dispacificated towards lying still. I want to sound smart. I'm going to nod sagely. That is enough of my official duties for the moment. Grizz accompanies me out again when it's time to go. She makes a couple of remarks about how useful this will be, though she stops short of asking whether I'm in debt to Horatia. I haven't forgotten, though. Pay Horatia half my back rent. As we make our way back to Horatia's, Grizz asks me what I think of Mr. Pages. She tries to make it sound like an idly curious question. Thanks for arranging this post. I'm grateful for the arrangement. It was very good of you to put this together. You're a good egg, at least. That's what my former fiance used to say. Griselda, you're a good egg. Before we go back inside the house, she reminds me, we have many more people in the neighborhood to survey for the census. You know how it's done now, so you can collect them and take them to Mr. Pages yourself. I have other duties and I may not always be there, but Pages as well. I am certain you won't be harmed if you visit the ministry on your own. I could decide to confess that I have flirtatious interest in Mr. Pages. Probably shouldn't do that. Alright, ask neutrally whether Grizz has feelings for Mr. Pages. I get the impression that you have an affection for Mr. Pages. Mr. Pages is a puzzle. Sometimes he can be protective. Other times I think he would let me walk into the sea if I choose. Not because he dislikes me, but because he has no fear for me. He trusts me to judge for myself. Undercon Grizz, he calls me, but I'm not sure I'd call it love. If it should say anything about its feelings, please tell me. You know what? Sure, they seem to be a good sort. I don't know what Mr. Pages is. He seems like a pure soul. I don't know. I'll promote their connection. I will get you with this strange, otherworldly being, Grizz. Don't worry. Let's review the date because I want to see how much money I owe. I have to give 5 pennies. I can do that. I can do that now because I made so much money. Because I'm the best. Huzzah. Alright, let's go back. 261. Oh, we're going to have another Recall the Past. I got to get ready to do my Recall the Past voice. Now we have 12 days remaining in the season of Confessions. I think the season of Confessions is like the tutorial season. The prologue. Another morning, another newspaper. The headlines today read, Her Majesty's Palace shuttered. Royal family remains unreachable. Are they even there anymore? It's time to recall the past. I remember the days of the fall in fragments. There are a few moments that I'm always drawn back to, memories that stand for everything else that happened. There are things I sometimes remember from that night that cannot have happened, impossible things. If I concentrate, I can recall. Let's see, we can choose to see Archie, Harjit, Grizz. I kind of want to go Harjit because he's a good bean and I love him. And I want to be besties with him. That day, when the sky had gone red, even though it wasn't yet time for sunset, Harjit knocked on the servant's door. He was carrying a lantern. All well in this house? Any wounded? Any missing? Any dead? Anyone bunking with you that didn't live here yesterday? It was Horatio answered, of course. No, that's not right. Grizz answered. I remember now. Horatio was in the pantry. Grizz answered. We're all well, thank you, Constable. What are you seeing on the street? Are there many wounded? He winced. I remember that. No, only around the Houses of Parliament. What happened to Parliament? Hang on, that can't be right. We didn't hear about Grizz's uncle and the fate of parliamentarians that night. We offered him something to eat before he left. We have a few provisions if you need food. It looks like it will be a long night. I can't stay, but thank you. It's kind of you to offer. I just love the way we can't remember things. It feels so true to like a situation like this, but also adds to the fact that it's weird here. There's weird stuff going on. Alright. Let's go ahead and head outside. Where do we want to go? Where do we want to go? Where do we want to go? We can go to Lando's Churros. Go to our house. We can go to the bazaar. Oh, the bazaar, I can't do anything because I don't have any census forms. I do have a lot of money. Let's pay our rent. Hey, Horatio. Sweet. I find Horatio in the basement taking inventory of our supplies. The night London fell, all Horatio's lodgers gathered in the cellar. Horatio led the hymns while we waited for dawn. Around 3 in the afternoon, we admitted to ourselves that there wasn't going to be a dawn. Today, or any other day. Starling, it's good to see you. Since the fall, we've all taken to greeting one another as if invalids on the verge of death. Admit how much the fall still frightens me. I still think about the fall very frequently. I see it over again, as though it were something that could happen a second time. Or as though we could have it over again in reverse, a violent birth back onto the surface. I go on for some time, making no effort to hide how frightening the whole business was. The description becomes more frank as I go on. The Lord is our shepherd. I remind myself of that in times like these. Harjot says the Besham's neighbor vanished overnight. They'd been talking of making a run for it, just striking out north and seeing what they found. Not enough to eat around here, it seems. Give Horatio half my back rent. I believe I owe you something, as a matter of fact. I pass her the coins in a jingling handful. Thank you. You're a kind soul. She scoops the money into the pocket of her skirt. I did it. Continue. Discover how much more I owe her. I know that I can't cover all of my previous debts. It would be as much again. I will have to do a few more odd jobs first. I'm glad to have this. All right. We gotta get 3 more. There's a woman who comes to the door just about every morning. Too many children, not enough food. Sometimes I have a penny or some old stew for her. Listen. And this morning, I sat by the fire and didn't go to answer it. After a time, she stopped knocking and just stood sobbing on the doorstep. Here. It's not a great deal, but for tomorrow. I retrieved the pennies from my pocket and passed them over. Thank you. I'll say you sent them for her. Give her my best. I will. Ask Horatio about her work. Simply ask whether she does anything else besides run the household. You don't have any secret business besides running the household, do you? The house has been my business a long time now. My father left it to me. He bought it so I have a good place to live in. He didn't want to leave it up to whether I'd find a husband. Which I haven't. The butcher at the corner used to ask me, but I think he wanted more room for his children. I'm just off to put my feet up and read the paper. If the rest of you have left any scraps of it, that is. Horatio and I should be friends. I grin. Judging by the clock, I could afford another errand before supper. All right. Where should I go? Oh yeah, that's right. We could we could go visit Phoebe. Meet Phoebe. Maybe Phoebe can get us to the marketplace. All right. I'm here to do a census. I'm official. I am the most official. Let's go be official. Oh, she's cute. Are you here to see me, then? I don't receive visitors as a rule, but perhaps they won't take official notice. It's not as if I entertain much. Explain that I'm working for the Ministry on the Census. The Ministry of Accounting and Recounting have asked me to work on the census. Phoebe shows no enthusiasm for the Ministry. Nobody likes a ministry. I wonder why. Could it be because they are mysterious, otherworldly beings that nobody understands? I think so. Simply ask about Phoebe's romantic connections. Are you married or otherwise connected? There's someone I care for. I had hoped something would come of it after the fall, but it seems that's not to be by the look of things now. Do not presume to comment. I say nothing. Silence falls. I mean, I could flirt with Phoebe. She deserves a flirt, I think. You're the liveliest thing I've seen in the news. It's like a breath of fresh air just being around you. You're very kind. I should take myself off. Horatio will be setting out the food now. I think I just took 2 crappy surveys compared to the last. Yesterday, I did so good with the surveys. Today, I feel like I did a bad job. All right, let's go to the boarding house. Let's go down to supper. Hi, y'all. Did you see that woman, the one who came yesterday asking for doctoring? Aye, what should it be but nightmares again? Ask about her complaint. Who is she? A captain's wife. Her husband was at sea when London came down. She dreams that he comes back to her, but he's nae the same when he does. He's devoted himself to the Father King and cannot speak, only sing. Can you do anything, love? I've only a dram of laudanum left, nae more than a few days. That's enough fuel for the moment. If you need to start a new tincture, there's something else I've been brewing up, so to say, but in case it did not work, aye. He takes something out of his pocket, a lump wrapped in paper or leaves, just long enough for Horatio to see. Opium. Goodness! Well, wherever you got it, don't let anyone see it before you've had a chance to use it. There's a brief lull in the conversation. Keep quiet and eat. I chewed diligently. The first few days weren't bad. People had food on their pantries still. Old loaves of bread, leftover joints, roots and jams. But nothing new was coming into the markets. No new fish. No vegetables from the farms. There are no more mushrooms on my plates. Fungi! Oh, talk with Archie before bed. Don't mind if I do. Let's have a fail Scottish accent. Let's go. Archie finds me upstairs after dinner. I cannot stop thinking on the Ministry of Cartography. There's something not right there. If you'd let me show you what I'm thinking of. Watch with interest. Please, be my guest. You'll see what I have in mind in a moment. It's a way of sorting out my thoughts. When I started, it was to think through a treatment. But it's good for all sorts, stories, schemes, things that might be true, or things that don't have to be. While he's talking, he's getting out some bits of paper, written over in his own handwriting. Watch closely. Here is one of the main gameplays of the game. Welcome to story crafting. From time to time, you'll be making stories about things you discover underneath. Assignment, learn about creating a story. Let's go! Sometimes other people will ask you to bring them a story. They might want a true account or they might want fiction. Either way, you'll come here to create the story they want. This is the slot. Who? Slots contain the elements of your story. This is the Who slot, meaning it can contain a character featured in the story. Select the slot to continue. These are all the character tokens you could currently put in the slot. As you meet more characters in the game, you'll gain more options. Select one of the tokens to fill the slot and continue. So we've got Archie, Grizz, Harjit, Horatio, or Mr. Pages. Let's do Mr. Pages. This is a story about Mr. Pages. Excellent. You can select the slot again to choose someone else if you'd like. Otherwise, let's continue. Characters in the story you craft here can be driven by motives, and these motives spur them to act. Tokens for actions and motives are represented by fragments of text rather than pictures. Assign a token to both the motive and action slots before you continue. Motive. Had an unknown purpose. This is a story about Mr. Pages, a master of the bazaar driven by a secret unknown motive. Had a public affair, had a secret affair, employed in plotting. Engaged those around it in nefarious schemes. Well done, delicious friend. Let's continue. I don't like that you called me delicious, game. No, I don't like it. Not every story is a single-hander, of course. Commonly, a second character will feature as a friend or an enemy or victim. Select this new slot to continue. The second person in your story needs to be different from the first. Notice that the token for your character you first chose is marked with a cross. If you assign that token to the slots, it will vacate the first character slot. You can try that now. You may continue when both slots are filled. Let's put Grizz here. Sometimes two tokens can't be placed together because they don't make sense together. More often than not, you can mix and match based on whatever you've learned about the world. You'll discover more variations in the course of play. Sometimes you'll be asked for a story where certain elements can't be changed. In that case, those slots will be locked. You can change everything else about the story, but not that piece. So this is locked. Feared the other. This is not true. This is an untrue story. So finally, sometimes you can put an unknown into a slot. That means you think there's another possible answer, but you need to explore the world more to find it. Building a story with some unknown elements gives you a hypothesis that you could ask other characters about. Fill this final slot to continue. Alright, let's change this. Let's change this to Archie. Possible fear. New ministerial expose crafted. You formed a theory to ask people about. When you get a message about a story completed, that lets you know what kind of story you've built. You can now go and ask the other characters about your idea. Whenever you're done working on a story, finished or not, you can leave the story crafting board and go and tell other characters about your idea. I have a friend below that can take what we learn and put it about in the papers. Oh, I forgot his accent. I told them I knew someone that might be able to bring back a few secrets of the ministry. Clarify whether he wants me to spy on my own employer for him. You want me to pay me to bring back information about my other employer? I can share some funds, in the spirit of shared enterprise. Here, you have a try. Tell me a tale of Mr. Pages for the paper, eh? Why not? Alright, who? Mr. Pages. Who? Londoner. Motive. Forbade mapping motive. Knew the Neath had changed. Pages desperate. Mr. Pages made loves. Made loves. Mr. Pages made laws forbidding mapping because it knew that the floor of the Neath would shift anyway. The maps would become obsolete, and the citizens grow frightened. It was better to allow people to think their own memories were at fault. The typical Londoner rebelled against these commands whenever it was safe to do so, feeling that Mr. Pages did not mean the city well. It seemed best to create a bit of difficulty for these newcomers who acted as lords and ministers without any right. Aye, well done. I don't care to have things hidden from me for my own good. It's a tale we could spread to others, wake London's suspicions, put them on their guard. I could take it to the press. Now you might wonder, what is the purpose of having a scrap of paper just to say what you don't know? But I used that to mark a question I want to ask. Here, what would you do if you wanted to interrogate someone about why Mr. Pages was up to his way? Try it. Okay, so we got to make an unknown. So motive had unknown purpose. Forbade mapping. Yeah, I think this is true. This is true. So, close. Mr. Pages had purposes both unknown and unknowable. It established a ministry rule forbidding mapping in the Neath. The typical Londoner rebelled against blah blah blah. Okay, yep. That seems right. This is hypothesis. Okay. A fine question about what Mr. Pages intends for us all. Make a question like that, and you'd be asking folks why Mr. Pages outlawed mops. Mops. Same as I asked Grizz yesterday. You've got the way of it. Questions to ask anyone who will reply. Answers to bring to me. If you don't mind giving Mr. Pages all manner of stories about the people that live below, then you can go on with it. But if you'd rather another way to making your bread, you might investigate while you're out there. Ask him questions. Ask other people questions about him. Find out a thing or two. If you make up the questions you want to ask, you can investigate with anyone who might answer. I've gone odd. My accent's gone quite odd. Earn your pennies helping the citizens rather than those creatures in their blankets. I mean, Mr. Page's blanket is quite nice. It looks warm. New goal. Bring Archie theories about the ministry. Okay. Sure, I will join you in the search for truth, Archie. I'm with you. The truth matters more than the ministry's convenience. I'm glad to hear you say so. It's no easy thing fighting the doubts of my own. With Horatia telling me I have the fidgets and Grizz saying I should be quiet and trust our robe-wearing masters, I should let you get your sleep. Today, so much has happened. It's been so eventful. Shall we review the day? We completed these two. That's very, very nice. We had 0 pennies, but we got 2 census pages, which is not gonna be enough because I did give the money to Horatia. I can talk. I talk for a living. I can do this. So now I can bring Archie theories about the ministry, and I can do census forms, and I can keep doing background. All right. I've got more acquaintances. We've got Phoebe, who's a skeptical Forbit. We got Rachel, who's a census filler. I'm a fan of David. Or Dave's a fan of me. Hell yeah. Why are you a fan of me, David? What did I say? You know, I'm happy. I'm happy you're a fan of me. I want to go talk to Harjit. Store crafting ideas discovered. Oh my god, there's so many of them. Holy moly, look at that. Wow. 262. I want to make more questions. All right, 11 more days. Here we go. Oh, wait, not yet. Another morning, another newspaper. Archie bought one, and the headlines read, Masters will exchange warm winter clothing for disused street signs. All right. Shall we recall the past? I think so. I reach for another memory out of that jumbled grab bag. There are things I sometimes remember from that night that cannot have happened. Impossible things. If I concentrate, I can recall. Excuse me. Let's go to Archie. I'm surprised that you're trying to read in this light, Archie. He held up his volume he was perusing. I thought I remembered there was a bit about the Welsh tornado here, and I was not wrong. Makes an elevating change from your usual reading about Medici poisoners, I suppose. She had caught him a day or so before, reading a history of toxins over the supper table. This had been the subject of quite a few jests since. What is wrong, pray, with trying for a wee bit of knowledge as a druggist? Sola dosis facit venenum, as the book says. Nothing's a poison unless you give the round them out. That seems fortuitous in a bad way. Let's build some more stories. So we've got an assignment, ministerial exposés. Okay. Is that the only story we can make? Oh, okay. We haven't made it yet. So... Okay. Took unknown action. I think this is interesting. Alright, so now we made a hypothesis. You know, I think Mr. Pages feels good about London. So I want to go from it from this way. Because I am going to go ahead and get some money. I'm going to go deliver Pages to him. Yep, okay, I'm being official. Alright, let's head outside. I would like to go to the bazaar. Ooh, we got Rubber hearts. What are the rubber hearts for? Oh, rubber heart with Phoebe. Or rubber heart with... Oh, interesting. Alright, let's go to the bazaar. Provide Mr. Pages with additional census forms while Grizz is absent. Yes, let's do that. I have to go in my badge because I'm here. Grace has already shown me once how to visit the ministry. It's not hard for me to return on my own. Mr. Pages is at its desk when I come in. Do you have anything more? Hand over a finished census page about Horatio. I have got used to the transaction now. This one is of interest. Family afficient, lacking authority. Do you have anything more? Phoebe. The trick is not to look at the back of the penny at all. She seems a very small person. More like a dog. Rude! Mr. Pages, you're rude! That is enough of my official duties for the moment. It is time for you to depart. I say farewell to Mr. Pages. Pages does not reply at all. It is at times difficult to tell whether Mr. Pages is intentionally ill-mannered or merely has no interest in discovering what the proper etiquette might be. I wanted to ask you questions. God damn it. The hallways outside are hushed, except that if I listen closely, there is a sound like something walking with an uneven gait. Its shoes, or perhaps its toenails, click on a polished floor. That leaves time for another errand today. What do I want to do? Let's go to the boarding house. I will discuss ministry misbehaviors with Archie. Blah, 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 blah. No, I need to take off the badge. He will hate me. And I'll put on my fake but vibrant corsage. It'll make me fanciful. Alright, I'm satisfied with this. Archie gives me a meaningful nod, as though we were siblings in a secret society. Let's see. I'm gonna mention the master's offer. I recount the newspaper story. The masters are selling winter clothing in exchange for the street signs. Oh? Summer clothing will no longer be needed in the Neath. I give a bit of a mocking edge to the whole tale. The frightening thing about the ministries is what the papers did not dare to print. I know Archie likes this because Archie is that type, but I'm gonna be more positive intellectual. I say nothing, but I'm affected by this view on things. I've not lost a I'm not lost a patient today, and there's no one raving in and no need of confinement, so I'll count that to the good. Ask whether that's common. Do you meet a lot of patients like that? Aye, more than a few. It's the dreams that does it. They've been dreaming they've been buried alive, often or not. There's a great run of that dream at the present. If you see folk heading off to the graveyard with shovels and pickaxes, that'll be what they're on about, like enough. Ask whether people are truly digging up graves. There's really a great deal of digging up graves? Aye, they put the dead back after. And then, sometimes, they go to dig them out again the next morning. Raise the question of Page's intention. What do you think Mr. Pages attends for the London? For London? That's what I hoped you might suss out. You formed the question on the board. Now it's a matter of asking someone that might know. Though I wouldn't put too money on what answers you'll get from Grizz. No one speaks for a moment. The conversation waits on Archie. If I'd met the like of you in Scotland, I might never have come to London. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. I could laugh at him. Hey, you know what? It's okay. Maybe to lead him on a little bit. I feel bad. I mean, he certainly... Okay, maybe... alright. I don't want to make him mad. Enough of this silliness. Hawk? Hawk? I didn't mean to put you in a spot. We have to face each other at the table every night. Might be you don't want another larger eyeing you there. Sir. Sir. I don't know what my intentions are with anyone, sir. You're very romantic and sweet, but we are in a secret society right now, and I don't want to miss business with pleasure. Horatio sets the dinner soon after. Let's go to dinner then. Boarding house. Go down to supper. Ooh, Horatio, this looks delicious. Tendrils. Tentacle stew. Where did you get this? I thought I smelled a stew. The pot's on the table. Starling, sit where you like. Shall we ask what's in it? I think we should ask what's in it. What's in it? If you judge just by the flavor, it'll be a chewy type of fish. Makes a change from mushrooms. That goes for you too, Miss Griselda. There's a stew ready if you're hungry. You know, Horatia's doing her best. I'm always hungry for your cooking, Horatia. Not what it was, is it? But thank you, all the same. There was a brief lull in the conversation. Keep quiet and eat. I chew diligently because I need to. It's very chewy. Dinner reaches an end. I could probably do at least one more day. Let's go straight to sleep. Alright, my plans for the next day are... Go to Harjit, get him to find me a new area, and then go to the new area and maybe meet somebody. Another morning. Another newspaper. This morning's lies open on the table. Population of rats and spiders in London said to have tripled overnight. Holy shit. Well, maybe we should make them our pets. Maybe they should be our friends. Maybe these are our friends. Have you thought of that, Londoners? No? Maybe? Alright. Let's recall the past. I reach for another memory out of that jumbled grab bag. There are things I sometimes remember from that night that cannot have happened. Impossible things if I concentrate I can recall. Yes. Let's glimpse something in the mirror. This sounds existentially terrible. In a mirror, I saw something that wasn't my reflection. A Mongolian woman. She sat at a desk in a flooding palace, and the milky water had come level with her knees. She wrote in haste. Her hands were gory with ink. Ink stained and dimmed the firebirds embroidered on her sleeve. The glimpse of me goaded her. The ink bottle upset. Blue-black bloomed in the floodwater. What does it mean? Why am I seeing a Mongolian woman in the mirror? Where am I? What's going on? Let's head outside. We're gonna go talk with Harjit to show me a route. Hey, Harjit. Hey yo, hey buddy, hey friend. I'm satisfied with this. Hello there. I hope the Neath isn't treating you too badly. Recount my unnerving mirror glimpses during the fall. The night of the fall, I saw something that wasn't my own face when I looked in the mirror. It was a woman in a flooding palace, and the sight of her alarmed me. Talking eases the sense of alarm. I go on for some time. Remember, there's no rain anymore. That never fails to put a smile on my face. There's nothing amiss at Mrs. Chapman's, is there? Nothing has happened to Archibald? Tell Harjit that the household is doing as well as they can in the circumstances. We're as well as we can be, on a diet of mushroom stew with the occasional piece of dried horse. Our clothes are roomier than they used to be. A widely shared affliction. Harjit shakes his head as though to clear away some thoughts. So many families passed in the fall. So many others vanished afterwards. Perhaps they have all packed their things and gone to some other part of the city. Perhaps something more terrible has happened. Ask about Harjit about some new destinations. Alright, we could go to Hogsland Market, the Proto-Martyr Church, the Devil's Townhouse, or the Menace Eradicator's shop. That's very interesting, but let's go to the marketplace. I want to be able to buy some things. And I know there's a great gal in the marketplace. How do you get to Hogsland Market? So we walk together, and every few moments Harjit stops to point out a landmark, or draw my attention to the places where the air smells different, or the sound of church bells can be heard. New location discovered. Hogsland Market. Here she is. What are you up to then? In the market for new clothes? Break the ice with news of the explosion of verminous population. I recount the newspaper story. There are more and more vermin in London. Oh? The article did not provide a summary of the survey of the bat population. The way I tell it, the newspaper correspondent comes out looking a bit of a fool, but it does make the tale more entertaining. Some of the beasties you hear tell of must have precious rare pelts or scales or what have you. I'd like to see 'em for myself. Say it's good to encounter new things. It might be frightening, but there's a chance for us here. Creatures that have lived below for a long time, they'll know more on how to manage. The lady nods along and even finishes a few of my sentences for me. You missed a spot of color this morning. A man came in with a basket of so-called fish. Mobbed he was, sold for 10 guineas each. But they wasn't fish. Cold and wet and slippery maybe, but not fish. Oh? I don't know what they were. I just know what they weren't. Look into the shopkeeper's good for sale. Ooh, I would love to get some things to wear. Yes. I love these mushrooms. I don't have this money yet. But don't worry, lady. I don't know your name. I will flirt with the shopkeeper. Because I think she'll like it. One smirk from you, miss, and I was lost. It's entirely devastating. My, you talk like you could turn a girl's head. The lady considers whether there is anything to add. Ah, well, top a room for me. If you come back around, ask for Ivy. I'm about most days in market hours. I can just manage another errand today. Person, Ivy. Alright, now I know Ivy. I can go visit Ivy because I flirted with her. I might do that, actually. Because she not dare. Build my friendship with Horatio. You know what? Let's go work up a relationship with Phoebe. I won't flirt with her anymore. I just want to be her friend. You want to speak again? Just a moment. I wait while she finishes her chores, enough to take a moment with me. They'll start to notice if I do this too often, no doubt. Express relief and surprise at Phoebe's continuous survival. What a relief to see you. I am glad you have not yet succumbed to any of the Neethi dangers. I have this piece of hair here. Why is this here? Maybe if I just shove it into my headphones. One is constantly afraid of one's acquaintances have been snatched by something large with talons and wings. Is that what the masters are? The ministers? Did you read the broadsheet today? And before I could tell her that I read them almost every day, she is narrating a story she must have found right at the back. A story about how every bush and tree and stick of grass in Hyde Park have been transformed into salt, like Lot's wife. That hardly seems possible, but she insists it's so, and that the whole place glitters like a palace of ice. I take a step closer. We both know I am not here to conduct any important business. You'll make my next shift more pleasant, you will. I can't guess what your family was, but I always find that difficult. No one is quite like mine. Boast a bit of my difficult childhood. I sketch in a little of my family history, the shabby housing of my birth, my father and uncle working at the docks, the smell and sound that surrounded me growing up. I retell the stories, almost too extreme to be believed, of wrecks and disasters and foolishly lying captains who put to sea in vessels that weren't seaworthy. We do not talk about the darker portions of that past. The ocean is gone now. There's a Z out there, churning with dark and uncharted waters, but it does not join to the nations we know, not even to Amsterdam or Calais. I say, that's not bad, is it? It seems I passed some test. Be off now. I prepare to go, but we find we have much more to say. There's laundry rating, and the bats won't do it. I'm in no hurry to change what we are now. I shake my head to clear it. The ruminations are gone, all is as it was. It's getting late, so I'm heading back home. Alright, we're going to finish this day. We're going to go ahead and do the night, and then when we start the next day, we're going to stop. Go down to supper. Eat up, Archie. Aren't you always warning us about lack of nutrition? I'm sorry, Horatio. You've cooked it well as anyone could do. No need to tell me that. What are you brooding on then? It's thinking on my mother. If she thinks I was killed, it'll be terrible for her heart. Oh yes, the mother I insulted. Listen in on a friendly manner. I've done enough damage. Say I get out of this hole in the ground at last and all the way back up to Glasgow and find she's passed her grief before I got there. Positively Greek. I've told you before you should ask Grizz to help you. Ask me for what? I've told you. I can't set off the masters. They can't be doing little favours here and there and everywhere. Do you know how many people live in London? No, my duck, I don't. Nor do you either. You wouldn't need this census. My mother begged me not to come all the way to London. She said I could study just as well as Glasgow. I'm sorry. I know. I've watched a lot of, like, Bridezilla and Monster-in-Law, like, content now. Your mother sounds a bit like a mom boy. Sounds like someone who will hate anyone you marry, Archie. This relationship does not sound healthy. And maybe it's okay that you've disappeared. It's probably good for her and good for you. Or if I had to go away, then I further than Edinburgh. There's plenty physicians there training. If it was me that chose to put the distance. Why'd you come so far from home, Archie? Why'd you do that then? My mother is a saint, the kind that suffocates you. Not that I meant to say a word against her. She went through a great deal with my father, all that. He was nae saint, not by a long chalk. There was a brief lull in the conversation. Keep quiet and eat. Yum, 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 yum. I chewed diligently. We must all chew diligently. We finished eating. All right, let's review my journal before we stop for the day. So we are currently at 263 days since the fall. Season of confessions. We got 2 pennies. We got 0 census pages. It's currently evening. I gotta do lots of stuff. I've got no census pages. How many more do I need? I delivered 4 originally. 6, 7. I just need 1 more. If I can get a good one from Ivy, then I can deliver Ivy's. I'd like to get 2 so I could get 5 pennies. And also get the Horatio thing. Alright. My goal next time, because I guess I'm playing this again next week, is what I've just decided with my voice. My goal next time is to do the talk to Ivy, change my hypothesis, because I think my hypothesis is not working for talking to Mr. Pages. I think I need to switch it. Maybe. I'm not sure. Obviously, I need to talk to Grizz as well. Maybe I'll talk to Grizz first and then Ivy? Or Ivy and then Grizz. Alright, I'll figure it out. Anyway, let's go to Big Me. Hi! Alright. Let's just really quickly go back. Let it save. Day 263 to 264 days since the fall. Where's the little save button? Alright, exit. Alright, return to title screen. Oh, well, I say 4 minutes ago. That's so long. It's probably fine. It's probably fine. Alright, let's... Because it's nice music to put in the background. Alright, we'll turn down the music a little bit. Alright. Thank you all for joining me. I will, as always, upload this to YouTube in a few days. So it will exist for Prepper as long as I want it to. We didn't have much cat action today. I don't even know where they are. Oh, wait. I found them! This is what happens when you have a kotatsu. Aki, are you nice and warm? Aki, do you want to say hello to everyone? Yeah? You want me to close it? Oh, Red's in there too. They're both in there. Red is farther back so you can't see him in the darkness. Okay, I'll close it. Bye. Hey, even if you don't live in Japan, I highly recommend a kotatsu. It's great for your... It's so good. It's so good, but also you want to fall asleep in it, and that's not good. Because you get sleepy when you're not sleeping. I had fun playing this. I had fun doing voices. I know I'm not the best at accents, but I had fun doing it. And I hope anyone who watches this also enjoys it. As I said, I will probably go ahead and... What is sigils? I don't know. Anyways, we'll probably play this again next week. I'll probably keep playing it. because I think it's an interesting game that doesn't have a lot of that people don't really know about. And that's fun. And I had more fun playing this than I did the Spirit Tea, which is no Spirit Tea is fine. I should say that the gameplay is good, and I think anyone who doesn't have like a history with Japan would really enjoy it. It's just got, you know, it's fine. It's a good game. I think people have a lot of fun playing it, and you should play it. Mask of the Rose was in development for a very long time and is kind of a masterpiece of storytellers, and I'm very interested to see what happens, and I'll probably fail on this run through, and that's okay. That's okay. And one day we will romance Mr. Pages, and it will be grand. But not this day. This playthrough, we're supporting Grizz. Grizz, you can have him. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend, and a wonderful life. Good. Bye.